So this is going to be test 3, worksheet 2. At this point in time, I have no idea if I'm going to be allowed to meet with all of you next week. Still waiting on that. It's not up to me. But if it was up to me, I would meet with you because I don't think that what we're doing is very dangerous. But just in case, I thought I'd make a video of how to do the problems on this worksheet. If you have not done these problems on this worksheet, turn this video off, do the problems. Take this like a little practice test, then turn the video back on in order to see if you did the problems correctly. So, we have a 3-flavor cake. It's going to be all equal flavors. Donna values chocolate twice as much as vanilla and lemon twice as much as vanilla. What's the dollar value of 50 degrees of lemon to Donna? Now last week on the board I wrote a very similar problem, but so this is just to test your memory. Okay, you cannot go for the dollar value of the slice yet, because the dollar value of the slice, you need to know what fraction of all the lemon is that. Well, you can't figure that out unless you know the value of all the lemon. So the first thing you need to do is get the dollar value of the thirds, and that starts with the ratio. Okay, so what would the ratio be? Notice how everything's compared to vanilla. So I'm going to make that flavor last. And then what is it, chocolate and lemon? It doesn't matter the order of these two. One continued ratio, not two separate ones. I'm going to make the value of vanilla 1 equal part, and then I'm going to look at Donna's value system. She likes chocolate twice as much as vanilla, so that would be 2 to 1, and she likes lemon twice as much as vanilla, so it'd be 2 to 2 to 1. The key to that whole ratio is total parts of value. Now, if the number 5 is not occurring to you, you might always add the word parts underneath. 2 parts of value, 2 parts of value, 1 part of value. So the total number of parts of value is 5. 5 total parts of value. Once you have that 5, you can proceed in 2 ways to get the value of the lemon. But talk to yourself. I see students, they have numbers floating all over their papers and like, oh yeah, that number's important, but then they don't know what it is and don't use it correctly the next step. So I'm going to talk to myself and I'm going to say, I think I'm going to find the value of 1 equal part. That's how I might do this. Well, the whole cake cost $28, and Donna is seeing this as having 5 equal parts, so you do 28 divided by 5, okay, which is 560. That's the value of 1 equal part. Know what that number is. So if I needed it, I know the value of all the vanilla cake. So all this vanilla is worth 560. The lemon has twice that value. So just double the 560, okay? And that's going to be $11.20. No. So that's $11.20. My decimal point's a little high. And the chocolate is also worth twice the vanilla, so that's $11.20. Take the time, add these up, $11.20 plus $11.20 plus 560, it does equal 28. If the value of your thirds and halves doesn't turn out to be the value of the cake, you're wrong. You can be off by a penny, but you shouldn't be off more than that. Now I'm going to show you another way to get the value of the lemon, because some of you were using this in class last week. So the lemon third is 2 parts out of 5 total parts of the whole cake. and I'm going to follow my language. The lemon is equals 2/5 of his times, and what's the value of the whole cake? 28. And then you get the 11/20 if you do that arithmetic. So there's two ways to get the value of the lemon. All of that to try to get 50 degrees of lemon. So once you're ready for the slice, and we are, since we have the total value of the lemon, the key for the slice is to ask this question. You know, this slice is, I'm going to have to write up here, what fraction of all the lemon? Well, is equals the fraction of all the lemon. Well, it's 50 degrees out of all the lemon. Now here you have to be careful. We don't do the 3 flavor cakes as often. That's 120 degrees of lemon. 360 divided by 3. The total amount of lemon is 120 degrees. And what's the value of all the lemon? That's where we need that 11/20. And then do that multiplication. Make sure you round to the nearest penny. $4.67. That's the final answer. Okay. All right. I believe the first problem on your test 3 is either a 2 flavor or 3 flavor cake, finding the value of a slice. Now we're going to practice lone chooser. Again, if you haven't done this on your own, turn off the video and do it, and then turn it back on. 4 people will divide a pie using the lone chooser method. Now, keep in mind, the book problems for the lone chooser were pretty nasty. The test problem for the lone chooser is going to be very similar to this. So, what you want to keep in mind, and normally when I do this in class, I actually have people. So we have 4 people, 3 people are dividers, and there's 1 lone chooser. We send the lone chooser off to the corner to kind of cry because they're not participating yet. So what you want to keep in mind is all the dividers cut the goods as if they own it, just the 3 of them. So each of them needs a piece, so it's going to be cut into 3 pieces by some method, maybe lone divider. Now, then the dividers have to look and say, oh, you know what, there really is a 4th person and this lone chooser's got nothing right now. So they're going to take their piece, and let's say this is this divider here, and let's say that this divider has like this slab of something. He's going to cut it, or she, into 4 equal pieces. 4 equal pieces to their point of view. Each divider will do that. So notice there are 4 players. At this point in time, all the dividers realize, oh, there's really 4 of us. So they cut their share into 4 equal pieces. And then the lone chooser, this never changes. The lone chooser will come along and say, I'm going to select 1 from you. He's going to do the same thing here. He's going to select 1 from this person. I didn't draw it. He's going to select 1 from this person here. So that's what always happens. The lone chooser selects 1 piece, sometimes I call it a sub-piece, from each divider. And they can choose whichever piece they want. That's why the divider needs to cut this equally. So the divider's got to be happy no matter which piece the lone chooser picks. Notice the divider will be left with 3 pieces, and that'll be true for every divider. And then the lone chooser will get 1 piece from this divider, 1 piece from that one, 1 piece from that one, also winds up with 3 of the little pieces. And everybody either cut their piece or pick their piece. So everyone should be satisfied. Now, last diminisher. Take this little space here. Again, if you haven't done this problem, turn the video off, try it, then turn it back on. So a $20 hoagie is shared among 5 people using last diminisher. one of the first things you should do is figure out the fair share. How much did everybody chip in? Well, 20 divided by 5. Everybody chipped in $4. So everybody is going to want $4 or more of pizza in order to be satisfied. The other thing that you can do, which I recommend, is to line the players up, because that's the first thing that happens. So this is a visual cue. I think on the test I even gave them names, so if you want to give them names you can. Ann, Betty, Carol, Dan, Ellen, whatever. But this is a good visual aid. So first thing they do is they line up. When you're doing this problem, pay attention to the information in the rounds I give you. In round 1, there are no diminishers. Okay, so always starts at the top, player 1 cuts a piece. So player 1 cuts his piece, there it is, no one diminishes it. Well, who gets the piece at the end of round 1? Basically, every player passed it and said, that's okay, you can keep it, that's okay, you can keep it. So player 1 gets to keep that piece. And then player 1 walks off with his piece, and player 1's out of the game. So mark them off, and we see that the second round will start with player 2. Now, we're into the second round, so read what happens in the second round. In round 2, player 3 is the only diminisher. Okay. In round 2, when player 3 first inspects the piece, so whatever piece it was that player 2 cut, player 3's looking at it. What dollar value does he put on the slice? Well, we don't want an exact answer, but we want sort of a range. What did he do? What did player 3 do? Player 3 diminished. He thought it was too big. That's why you diminish. Well, if he thought it was too big, he thought it was over $4. That's the best we can do. We know he thought it was over $4. After he trims the piece, what dollar value? So this is where I remembered to talk to some of you this week. Every fair division scheme where someone's cutting, the way they work, it's always in the best interest of someone cutting to cut to exactly a fair share, because they may be cutting their own piece. So he's going to cut it to exactly $4. He doesn't want to jip himself. Now, we're still on round 2. What dollar value would player 4 put on this slice if he inspected? Well, look back around 2. Player 3 is the only diminisher, which means when player 4 looked at it, so it's slightly smaller piece now, so player 4 is looking at it and he passed it. So why would a player pass the piece? There are 2 reasons to pass. You either think it's fair or you think it's too small. So if you think it's fair, it means, yeah, player 3, you can keep it. And if you think it's too small, it's like, yeah, player 3, you can keep that. I don't want that. It's too small. So if they thought it was fair or too small, it would be $4 or less. That's the best we can say. Okay. So who finally does get the piece at the end of round 2? Well, player 3 was the last diminisher, so player 3 gets it. He cut what he thought was a fair share. Player 4 and 5 said, yeah, that's a fair share, you can keep it. So player 3 walks off. Who starts round 3? Start back at the top, player 2. How many rounds will be needed? So keep in mind, each round, somebody gets a piece. But you actually don't need 5 rounds, because in the last round, somebody gets a piece and then the remaining person just gets the leftovers. So it's always 1 less rounds than people. So it'd be 4 rounds. So if we don't get to have class, this is not as good as being in class and talking to you individually, but I hope it helps.